أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من شر الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Um, Last time we reached the rules of Tawaaf. Finally, we got to to know the conditions of Tawaaf. And the first condition we had mentioned was um, the, let's get these rolling numbers. Okay, perfect. So the first condition we had mentioned was the intention. I mean, you have to have this intention embedded inside your heart. The second condition was the purification, and we were discussing about the purification, and we had reached to the level that uh, just need to adjust a few things. Okay, perfect. So basically, we have this ruling number 290, ruling number 290, uh, which says that إذا حاضت المرأة في عمرة التمتع. Obviously, these are rules related to the woman. Let's say if uh, if a woman entered the period, her monthly period, in the ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu. So when she said labbaik, and she got this situation, or before or after. The whole thing is that in Umrat al-Tamattu, so before entering the state of ihram, she got uh, this monthly period. She started, or during, she said labbaik, and then she got this excuse, and or after it. So before ihram, during ihram, or no, when she completed labbaik, and then she got it started. So, and before performing the tawaf. So after entering the state of ihram and before performing the tawaf. So now tawaf requires purity. So what will she do? So tawaf requires purity. So therefore, uh, فإن وسع الوقت لأداء أعمالها. If there was enough time, enough time to what? Remember, Umrah al-Mufrada, the time that the caravan leaves. Okay. Hajj al-Tamattu, the time when the caravan leaves. What is the narrowness of the time for the Umrah al-Tamattu? Umrah al-Tamattu, the narrowness of the time is the noon of the day of Arafah. That much time that she can purify herself and perform the tawaf and salat al-tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, and then she can do the sa'i, and then she's does the taqsir, and she's ready to go for Arafat. Is there enough time left and go to Arafat? Is not like kun fayakun, close the eyes and she's now in Arafat. No, close the Arafat. I mean, being in Arafat is another big story. It depends on the traffic. It depends on a lot of things, that will she arrive in time or not. So, yes. So ruling number 290, إذا حاضت المرأة في عمرة التمتع. if a woman enters the state of haid or monthly period in the Umrah of Tamattu, حين الإحرام, while she's entering the state of Ihram. Okay, I am entering the state of Ihram. Whoops, she got the period. Or Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. So this is all during entering the state of Ihram. Or no, before it. They arrived in the miqat and just the spirituality and the awe captured her and finished. She went into that state of monthly period. Or no, after it, after she said Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik completed, Inna alhamda wa ni'mata wa inna alhamda wa ni'mata is mustahab. But once she finished the four Labbaik and she entered the state of Ihram, finish. She got her period. So here we have, and before Tawaf, because the main thing is the Tawaf requires purity from the metaphysical impurity. So if there was metaphysical impurity such as janaba or hayd or nifas, as we mentioned, that person needs to perform what they say, the ghusl to relieve himself from this impurity and purify himself. These are metaphysical impurities. فإن وسع الوقت لأداء. So before the beginning of Tawaf, that means she was not able to do the Tawaf. So if the time was sufficient enough that she could perform her a'mal before the time of Hajj, uh, so before the time of Hajj, there is enough time. So between her period and Hajj, the day of Arafat, there is enough time. Okay. So موعد الحج, so she will observe patience. صبرت إلى أن تتطهر. And she observes the patience until she purifies herself, does the ghusl, and then performs her a'mal normally. But what if the time was not sufficient? So what if the time was not sufficient? وإن لم يسع الوقت لذلك فللمسألة صورتان. There are two scenarios. If there was no time, that means she just entered before one day of period. One day she entered the period, and after one day they have to go for Arafat, or 2 days, because minimum hayd is 3 days. So now, if minimum hayd is 3 days, and she doesn't have enough time, so what would she do? So there are two scenarios. Scenario number one, أن يكون حيضها أن يكون حيضها حين إحرامها أو قبل أن تحرم. So her hayd was while she was entering the ihram or before she entered the ihram. So in this case, remember there are rare cases where the ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu' is converted to Hajj al-Ifrad, the individual Hajj, the Hajj for the people who are living in the vicinity of Makkah. So ينقلب حجها إلى الإفراد. Her Hajj becomes Hajj al-Tamattu' becomes Hajj al-Ifrad. What does that mean? That means does not require. But why now? Why during Ihram? Why before Ihram? Because she has not made the intention of Ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu'. So in this case, her Hajj will be converted to Hajj al-Ifrad. Okay, so then she goes to Arafat. She goes to Arafat and then Muzdalifah and Mina and pelting the stone. And after that, if she becomes relieved from her monthly period, okay, وبعد الفراغ من الحج, تجب عليها العمرة المفردة إذا تمكنت منها. She has to perform her Umrah of Mufrada the way we do it any time in the span of the year, except for the Hajj, Umrah al-Tamattu' for Hajj. Other than that, this Umrah al-Mufrada you can do it any time in the year, which is like Tawaf after entering the state of Ihram, Labbaik, Tawaf, 2 rakat Salat, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and again 2 rakat Salat. Again, the Tawaf al-Nisa and 2 rakat Salat Tawaf al-Nisa. So this is the first scenario. First scenario was what? She entered the state of Ihram. She entered her monthly period before entering the state of Ihram or during. So khalas, she can her Ihram, her Hajj responsibility of Hajj al-Tamattu has been converted to Hajj al-Ifrad, which is not associated with Umrah Mufrada. So in this case, she will have to do Umrah Mufrada if she's able to do now, otherwise later. So because it's not associated immediately be done with the Hajj in the same year, like Umrah al-Tamattu, not in the same year, in the same season as well, season of Hajj, because we said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, دخلت العمرة في الحج هكذا, and he brought these fingers together. That means Umrah al-Tamattu or Hajj al-Tamattu, they're part of one body. You cannot separate it, and here she cannot do Umrah al-Tamattu, and Umrah al-Tamattu must be done before the day of Arafat, completed before the day of Arafat. Okay, that is the first scenario. So Sayyidina, what is the second scenario? So the second scenario is أن يكون حيضها بعد الإحرام. That means she made her intention. So she made her intention. There it was before, during the ihram or before. That means she has during, that means she has not completed. She did not say labbaik, okay, 4 labbaiks. Here she said labbaik Allahumma labbaik, okay, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, 2 labbaiks, labbaik la, 3 labbaik, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik, third, la sharika laka, still not completed. And whoops, the period encountered. So that she did not complete. She did not enter the haram. That she did not recite the 4 labbaiks completely. In this second scenario, no. She said the labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, and the period encountered. Oops. So here we have the fourth 4 labbaik said, you are in the state of ihram. And remember, in the state of ihram and before the tawaf. So here أن يكون حيضها بعد الإحرام, after the entrance of the state of ihram. وفي هذه الصورة, in this case, الأحوط استحبابا, it's recommended precaution to change your Hajj to Ifrad. Same like the first scenario. The difference was first scenario, it converts automatically once because she did not complete her ihram, niyat al-ihram. So that means she still have time to convert. Here she already entered the ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu. So here she has to switch the intention, because there, once it's encountered, she made the intention automatically because she had not fixed her ihram for Umrat al-Tamattu. Here the ihram was fixed. So it requires modification by her. أن تعدل إلى حج الإفراد. Recommended precaution, like the one which the previous one. But that previous one, we did not have recommended precaution. The word, let me go back to the wording of Sayyid. ففي هذه السورة ينقلب حجها إلى الإفراد. It converts to Hajj al-Ifrad. Okay, that means she has to be aware about it. And here she has to, as a recommended precaution, change like the first scenario. In both cases, the intention has to play a big role because you have to decide this is Hajj al-Ifrad or Umrat al-Tamattu. So you have to change it. So here it's recommended precaution. Uh, but Sayyid Sistani has a big problem, this converting the intention of Umrat al-Tamattu to Hajj al-Ifrad, just like just changing it, switching it. And she said labbaik. She became firm on this. So that's why he said, وَإِنْ كَانَ الظَّاهِرُ, even though apparent to me is أَنَّهُ يَجُوزُ لَهَا الْإِبْقَاءُ عَلَى عُمْرَتِهَا. She's okay. She can stay in her Umrah. Which Umrah, Sayyidina? Umrah al-Tamattu. So she is in the state of hayd, state of monthly period, and she entered the ihram with the intention of Umrah al-Tamattu. He says, no need to change to Hajj al-Ifrad. Khalas, let her be in Umrah al-Tamattu. Okay? Let her ihram be Umrah al-Tamattu. But what about her Amal? That's fine. وإن كان الظاهر أنه يجوز لها الإبقاء على عمرتها, even though it is apparent, that means from the evidences, obviously, that she can continue to in her state of Umrat al-Tamattu. Okay, then how Hajj, the time? No, I mean, we are assuming that there is enough time remaining. Okay, enough time remaining till the day of Arafah, or the noon time of Arafah. So what should she do, Sayyidina? بأن تأتي بأعمالها من دون الطواف وصلاته. So she performs her a'mal without the circumambulation around the Kaaba, without the tawaf, without its salat, because that requires purity. So what would she do? She would do sa'i, Safa Marwa, and clip off her hair to exit the state of ihram. So فَتَسْعَى وَتُقَصِّرُ. She will do the sa'i and she will perform the cutting of the hair to exit the state of ihram. What about the tawaf? Later on. Wait, let's see what's next now. So now she's done with that. She cut off her hair. She's done. The thing is, the tawaf and the salat, the tawaf is on hold and waiting for the purity. And so she does that. She exits by taqsir, and now she enters the ihram of Hajj. ثم تحرم للحج. Okay. So then she goes after the ihram of Hajj, you just go to Arafat. Arafat does not require purity. Then she goes to Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah does not require purity. She can be in her period. Mina doesn't require purity. Pelting the stone doesn't require purity. All these things doesn't require purity. We said in the whole manasik al-Hajj, the only thing that requires purity is your tawaf and salat al-tawaf. And that has been kept on hold. فَتَسْعَى وَتُقَصِّرُ. She performs the sa'i and she does the taqsir. ثُمَّ تَحْرِمْ لِلْحَجِّ. And then after that, she enters the ihram of Hajj. In Mecca, ihram of Hajj has to be in Mecca. وبعدما ترجع إلى مكة من بعد الفراغ من أعمال منى تقضي طواف العمرة وصلاته. Okay. تقضي طواف العمرة وصلاته. يعني the tawaf and the salat which were on hold, she can do qada after Mina when she comes back to Makkah. وبعدما ترجع إلى مكة, after she returns Makkah, بعد الفراغ من أعمال منى, after completing the أعمال of Mina, she must have done by this time. Mina تقضي, remember that tawaf and salat, the tawaf of Umrah, okay? She on hold, she has to do those qada before performing the tawaf of Hajj. Remember, Hajj, tawaf of Hajj, 2 rakat tawaf of Hajj, the sa'i between Safa and Marwa, tawaf al-Nisa, 2 rakat tawaf al-Nisa. It is all after A'mal Mina, not before A'mal Mina, not during, after A'mal Mina in the Hajj. Okay, so now we know that she entered the state of ihram in period. Okay, so she entered the state of ihram, and after that, just she said labbaik Allahumma labbaik labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, and period encountered her. Or any time before she went to Makkah, she was okay. She saw the Kaaba in the awe, she got this period. Okay, so so now just she's going to, so she has to exit the Masjid al-Haram into Safa and Marwa area, because Safa and Marwa area is not part of Masjid al-Haram. There, a woman in the period, she can stay there, she can do her ibadat, whatever she wants to do. So therefore, uh, she before the tawaf, so between the ihram, between labbaik said, she's entered the state of ihram, and before tawaf, we said no problem. We don't need to change her ihram, change her hajj. Apparently, she does her sa'i and taqsir, Safa and Marwa and taqsir. She exits the ihram. And tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu is on hold. Qada is on hold. Then she enters the ihram of Hajj. She goes to Mina, Muzdalifah, Arafat. Once she's done with the Amal Mina, if she's clear, so she has two things to do. One is the on hold and one is the sandwich. Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf. Sandwich of what? For Umrah al-Mufrada, which I call it sandwich because Tawaf of Hajj, 2 rakat Tawaf. Then you have the Sa'i in the middle. And then Tawaf al-Nisa and 2 rakat Tawaf al-Nisa. This has to be in this sequence properly. So we have this on hold and sandwich. Which one should she do first? He says تقضي طواف العمرة وصلاته قبل طواف الحج, before the طواف of Hajj. Okay. Wait, okay, what if she was the long periodic woman? I mean, her periods are very lengthy, and now the Mina is done, Arafat is done, and she's back from Mina, she's still in her period. Some women, their period 8 days, 9 days, max is 10 days. Minimum period is 3 days, maximum is 10 days. More than 10, it's not a period at all. It's istihada, and it has its own rules. Leniency, lesser rule, because the discharge of the blood of istihada is not like discharge of the blood of haid. So let's say if if the woman was sure, she was sure that her excuse will continue and she will not be able to perform the tawaf, on-hold tawaf, even after returning from Mina. Okay? Um, like so long? Yeah, I mean, it's not like many times in Mina, people that are done with Mina, 2, 3 days to do the manasik of Hajj, the sandwich, and they leave. So it says, even if it was for her companions or the caravan not being able to wait for her until she's done. So what would she do now? That the caravan is not going to wait. She knows that it's going to go beyond the date. So on hold tawaf, 2 rakat salat tawaf. She will delegate someone to do on her behalf. Niyaba. Okay? Someone will do for her. Tawaf and the Salat of Tawaf. Which one? The one on hold. And then she'll perform the Safa and Marwa by herself. Though she had done that, but here, so she will give the niyabat for Tawaf and the Tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, the on hold, and the Salat of Tawaf. And then she will start the Tawaf al-Hajj. No, she'll start, gave the delegation to Tawaf for Tawaf al-Hajj and the Salat of Tawaf al-Hajj. Then she will perform the Sa'i by herself of the Hajj, the sandwich, and then she will give the delegation to someone to do the Tawaf on Nisa on her behalf. Ruling number 291. So we took the scenario before entering the state of Ihram, she must have got the spiritual shock or spiritual awe or something like that, or her date encountered. She got in the state of monthly period. Or no, while she was saying labbaik, she got into the state of monthly period. Now, and we discussed that. Or after that, before tawaf. Now she was doing the tawaf and this happened. Okay. So now in this scenario, we have she was performing the tawaf and maybe the spiritual shock came or the time of monthly period came and uh, uh, she encountered the haid during tawaf. إذا حاضت المرأة أثناء طوافها فإن كان طرو الحيض قبل تمام الشوط الرابع. Remember to say this, Sistani. Now in this ruling or the Maraja, they differ. In which round, if it was before which round, the tawaf is invalid and you have to redo, and after which round, so the tawaf is okay, but you have to continue the tawaf, and in certain cases you have to redo and continue. Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah has fourth round. So if you did your first round, remember the Hajar al-Aswad, you said you come to, this was our Hajar al-Aswad, this one, yeah, this corner. She did the tawaf, one round done, second round done, third round done, and this is the fourth round. So he says it was before completing the fourth round. She's not reached here. Before completing the fourth round. So kiss your tawaf goodbye. بطل طوافها وكان حكمها ما تقدم في المسألة السابقة. And her ruling will be the one which we discussed in the previous ruling will be applied. What does that mean? Before, after entrance of Ihram and before Tawaf. That means uh, wait whenever she gets pure, relieved from her monthly period, she performs her Tawaf and Salat al-Tawaf. Or the time is short, performs the Hajj. After she comes back from the Hajj, the on hold once she does it before Tawaf and Salat al-Tawaf, and then she does the sandwich of Hajj al-Tamattu. So this is scenario number one. Before, like, before completing the fourth round, remember this is the fourth round here, Hajj al-Aswad, we counted. So here somewhere, it was just going to come to close to al-Aswad. Like here, obviously, anytime in the first round, second, even the first half of the first round, anytime before she reaches, that's her deadline, that's her edge, okay? After that, that there's some other other rule applies. Here, There's one rule applies. Alhamdulillah. So here, the rule of before fourth round applies. And what is that rule? The rule of the one who encounters the monthly period after entering the state of ihram and before starting the tawaf. So she did the tawaf. She started the tawaf, yes, but before fourth round. The criteria is before fourth round, purify yourself, redo the tawaf entirely. So here, this is the scenario number one for this uh, uh, period encountering during the tawaf. So during the tawaf, you have two stages: before completing the fourth round, after completing the fourth round. وإذا كان بعده صحت ما أتت به. If it was after completing the fourth round, like here, Alhamdulillah, I'm done with fourth, now it came. Or fifth round, anytime, sixth round, seventh round, okay. Even she completed the seventh round and now it came. So, or before the seventh round. So, just like she's completing I'm sorry, yeah, before completing the seventh round here. So, it's after the fourth round, this happened after completing the fourth round. So, here in this way, the كان بعده, if it was after the fourth round, صح ما أتت به, whatever she did, round number one, round number two, round number three, round number four, these are okay. ووجب عليها إتمامه بعد الطهر والاغتسال. ما شاء الله. That gap of 10 minutes between the rounds is exempt here. She's exempt from that rule of the gap. Like it's not 10 minutes, it could be a day, 3 days. Yeah, she just encountered the minimum haid is 3 days. So like minimum, she has a gap of 3 days to maximum 10 days. A good discount, a good normally it's very tough not exceed this little bit amount of time, which breaks the consistency. We're going to discuss about the consistency, that the one after another, there should be not too much gap, max is 10 minutes. So here, mashallah, she has been given enough time. So وَوَجَبَ عَلَيْهِ بَعْدَ الطُّهُرِ. So she completed four, like 5, 6, 7, 3 rounds are left. Whenever she is relieved from her monthly period, she does that. She repeats it. No, sorry, she completes it. Is it sufficient? Yes, it is sufficient. However, it is recommended precaution to repeat the whole thing after completing. So completing is must. Ayatollah Sistani Damahullah does not allow his mukallafin to leave part of the tawaf done correct. Oh, let me do it again. No, complete this. If you want to do it again, you're most welcome, but complete the previous one. Complete the previous one and then think about doing a new one. Okay, as a precautionary, you're satisfied. Don't abandon half tawaf. If you have already done fourth round, don't abandon it. So الأحوط الأولى إعادته بعد الإتمام. Even though recommended precaution is to repeat the tawaf after completing it. So when she got purified from her monthly period, after she did ghusl and everything, she she uh, she completed uh, she completed her third, fourth round. This is when this is هذا فيما إذا وسع الوقت. There's enough time before the day of Hajj, and she became relieved from her monthly period. But what if she did not get relieved from the monthly period? Okay, then finish. She does her sa'i, she does her taqsir, and enters the state of ihram of Hajj. Same ruling applies. And then when she comes back from Mina, she does the qada. qada of what? The whole tawaf? No, 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 no. No, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. There's enough privilege given to her because of her excuse that this much gap is allowed for her to complete. So when she comes back to Mina, she should not delay, obviously, after being relieved and after coming back from Mina. So that the after the purification, after she's in Makkah, she should not delay that much. So basically, in a way that the whole connectivity gets lost because the connectivity is paused due to the monthly period. Enough time is given for her to ghusl, to perform her bath, ceremonial bath, and then to arrive to Makkah, or after she comes back to Makkah, she does the ghusl, and then she goes to Masjid al-Haram to do the qada بالإتيان ولزمها الإتيان بقضاء ما بقي من طوافها. So after she comes back, she is required to complete whatever was left from her tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu' after returning from Mina before the tawaf of Hajj, before the sandwich, as mentioned before. Ruling number 292. These are all stages of entry encountering the monthly period. So here, إذا حاضت المرأة بعد الفراغ من الطواف. Okay, now remember, she completed the seventh round and whoops, just she stepped out from the zone of Hajj al-Aswad here and she got, oh my goodness, seven round completed, Alhamdulillah. And then this came. So, إذا حاضت المرأة بعد الفراغ. And remember, we said that when you finish your tawaf, just don't come here and leave. No, do a few steps in front and then leave. Basically, Maqam Ibrahim is here in parallel to this point. So, Hajj al-Aswad is this corner. After Hajj al-Aswad, if you walk few steps, you will see Maqam Ibrahim. And the more you go farther, the more the distance becomes greater between the Hajj al-Aswad and the line of Maqam Ibrahim. So basically, she came until here, and or before she says, she's now standing in front of Maqam Ibrahim, and because of the shock and awe of spirituality or something like that, whoops, uh, she got her encountered her monthly period, or no, it was her date anytime she's expected, and this was the time where it happened. So she cannot pray in that state. She has to wait until she's done, and then she's relieved, and then she does her performance of ghusl al-hayd, purification from the purification bath, and then so the same thing applies here. If there is enough time, okay, and before the days of Hajj, before the ninth Arafat, if there's enough time for her to, if she becomes pure, relieved from her hayd monthly period, and she can do the ghusl and she can do the salatul tawaf, then she has to go to do the salatul tawaf. And then because she exited her Salat al-Tawaf. So she exited her state of Ihram, but this was on hold. Not she exited. She did her Tawaf and she exited the Haram because she had to leave. So Salat al-Tawaf was left. Now we say if there is enough time left, she can go and do the Tawaf, 2 rakat Tawaf, and after that do Sa'i between Safa and Marwa and do Taqsir. And then when the Hajj time comes, she enters the Ihram of Hajj. But what if the time was short and she did not have, she's sure that I'll not be able to exit this period, monthly period, or relief from it until 9th Dhul Hajj, the day of Arafah. No problem, same rule applies. Uh, do your sa'i Do your taqsir, exit the state of ihram. What about my salat al-tawaf? It will be on hold. Okay. Go for Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina, pelt the stone, everything. And when you come back to do the sandwich of Hajj al-Ifrad, Hajj al-Tamattu, sorry, the Tawaf, Salat Tawaf, Tawaf al-Hajj, Salat, Tawaf Salat Tawaf al-Hajj, Sa'i of Hajj, Tawaf al-Nisa, and Salat Tawaf al-Nisa of Hajj. So before doing this, okay, Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf of Hajj, do your 2 rakat, which is on hold of the Tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu. So he says, إذا حاضت المرأة بعد الفراغ من الطواف. If a woman enters the state of period or monthly period after completing the tawaf, before performing the 2 rakat of salat, صح طوافها. Her tawaf will be correct. وأتت بالصلاة بعد طهرها واغتسالها. And she will perform the salat of tawaf after she becomes pure, and she performs her, she's relieved from the period, and she performs her ghusl and becomes pure. وَإِنْ ضَاقَ الْوَقْتُ. And if the, and then obviously it's not written here, she will do then her sa'i in the same sequence. It was on hold, but she got relieved before the day of Arafah. So she will continue what was on hold. So Tawaful 2 rakat Tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu was on hold, and then Sa'i was on hold, and Taqsir, because this is a scenario where enough time would be there after she becomes relieved and the day of Arafah. So she will do everything before she goes to Arafat or before she even enters the Ihram of Hajj. The second scenario is no, there's not enough time. Here, Salatul Tawaf will be on hold. She will do her sa'i and taqsir and get out, exit the state of ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu and enter the state of ihram of Hajj al-Tamattu. And then after, وَإِنْ ضَاقَ الْوَقْتُ, and if the time was narrowed, sa'at, performs her sa'i, وَقَصَّرَت, and performs her taqsir, gets out of ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu. وَقَضَتِ الصَّلَاةِ, and she would do the salat qada before the sandwich of Hajj, before the tawaf, قبل طواف الحج, when she comes back. It's exactly the same ruling applied here, but it's now for the Salat al-Tawaf. Okay. Ruling number 293. One more scenario. Now she's done with her 2 rakat salat. Okay. So step by step, we took all the stages. Before the ihram, during the ihram, done. After the ihram, before the tawaf, done. During the tawaf, done. After the tawaf, done. Now let's say salat. She did her salat. إذا طافت المرأة وصلت. If the woman performs the tawaf and prayed, ثم شعرت بالحيض, and she felt that monthly period had encountered, but she does not know that encounterance was before the tawaf or during the tawaf or before the salat of tawaf or this is after salat of tawaf. Okay, the feeling that it had begun somewhere before, but when she doesn't know. أو في أثنائها, or during صلاة الطواف, أو أنه حدث بعد قبل الصلاة أو في أثنائها, before the صلاة of tawaf or during, أو أنه حدث بعد الصلاة, or it happened after the salah. Now she's done with the salah and she's doubting. Remember قاعدة الفراغ, we mentioned rule of completion. That means whenever you doubt after completing the ibadah, you ignore your doubt. She says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I feel that I have this period. When did it happen? Before, during, before the tawaf, after, during the tawaf, after the tawaf. We say, as long as you felt and you doubt when was it before, you will say it was just now. Okay. The Qa'idat al-Faragh says after you have completed your action, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's how Salat ends. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar as recommended. Okay. So you will consider that it happened just now. بنى بنت على صحة الطواف والصلاة. She will consider her salat and tawaf of salat correct. خلاص, it happened just now. Okay. It was not there before, but it's قاعدة الفراغ. So she's doubting. Some might say it's istishab. That means her previous state was purity. Now she's doubting the encounters of purity. But that is for the doubt. Here, she feels that she's in her monthly period now, but she doesn't know it was before or after completing the salat of tawaf. So we will say qa'idatul faragh, the rule of completion, that no, it is after the completion of the salat. وإذا علمت أن حدوثه كان قبل الصلاة أو في أثنائها. But this is, she felt, when was it? Doubt. But now in the second scenario here, she knows if she knows that it was before Salat al-Tawaf, after the Tawaf, that between the Tawaf and Salat al-Tawaf. So we'll consider the Tawaf okay, but now she will have to do the Salat of Tawaf and the Sa'i and the Taqsir and the Salat and the Taqsir after she is done with what? She's relieved from the monthly period. What if the time was not enough for the Hajj? Okay, ninth day is coming and it's just like I can't do everything now and then go and then enter the state of Ihram of Hajj. Okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. Just do your sa'i, do your taqsir, get out of your Ihram. What about the Salat al-Tawaf? It will be on hold until you go to Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina, come back from Mina. Before you perform the sandwich of Hajj, okay, you just do this 2 rakat, which had encountered the hayd. Let's see, because I want to just complete the rules of women. Okay, perfect. So this is the final ruling of the rule of women, and we'll call it a day. Ruling number 294. إذا أحرمت المرأة لعمرة التمتع. If the woman enters the state of ihram for عمرة التمتع وكانت متمكنة من أداء أعمالها, and she had the ability to perform her أعمال. Number one, knowledge. Number one, that she was able to, she had the knowledge that she was able to, she will be able to perform her. وعلمت. So she had the ability. She had the ability to perform her أعمال. وعلمت أنها لا تتمكن منه بعد ذلك لطرو الحيض عليها وضيق الوقت. And she had knowledge here. That means there's a component of negligence. So she had knowledge. She will not be able to, okay, complete her a'mal. She's in the state of ihram. She's in Makkah now. And she knows that she'll not be able to complete the a'mal because of the encounters of monthly period. Okay, she has the knowledge. So that means she needs to quickly go and perform her a'mal. ومع ذلك, despite of that, despite of her knowledge that she will be encountering, not might, she will encounter the monthly period anytime. Okay. مع ذلك لم تأتي بها. Despite of that, she did not perform her a'mal of Umrah. عمرة التمتع. حتى ضاق الوقت. آه، أنت حتى حاضت وضاق الوقت. And whoops, she entered the monthly period and the time got narrowed for performing it. عن أدائها قبل موعد الحج, before the موعد الحج. فالظاهر, so Sayyidina, what's going to happen here? She was like negligence. She delayed it intentionally, purposely, deliberately, with knowing that she's going to encounter when she did not go. So it seems that there's going to be serious consequences here. فالظاهر فساد عمرتها. So apparently, that means it's apparent from the evidences, not from my pocket. I'm not like anti-women or anti kind of those kind of things. No, it's just like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was very respectful to the women, and he mentions these directions for the sake of the whole concept of purity. There are rules for men as well for their encounters of janaba, um, in metaphysical stage of impurity for the sexual issues. فساد عمرتها ويجري عليها ما تقدم في أول الطواف. So um, here she entered إحرام of عمرة التمتع. Remember, فساد عمرتها, kiss her umrah goodbye. Her umrah will be invalid. What does that mean? ويجري عليها ما تقدم في أول الطواف. The rule which we mentioned, remember, in the first rules of Tawaf, okay, it will apply here. What was that? Her Umrah is invalid. Can she change to Umrah Mufrada and Hajj al-Ifrad? No, she can't change. That was recommended precaution. Just to tell you which ruling number was that, in case if you want to refer back to this ruling. Yeah, it was the first thing, Tawaf, the first beginning of the chapter of Tawaf, and it was just like 1, 2, yeah. If somebody abandons the Tawaf intentionally, his Hajj is going to become invalid, be it knowingly, unknowingly, and نعم إذا بطلت العمرة. So if his umrah was invalid, can the ihram stay? بطل إحرامه. His ihram was invalid, and then it's all messed up situation. Okay, go back and see what we had said. That means it's recommended precaution to convert it to Hajj al-Ifrad and mixture between Hajj al-Ifrad and Umrah Mufrada, so that at least you get out something. But the Hajj is no, it's done. And then there is this ruling number 295. It's about recommended tawaf. Do you have to have wudu for recommended tawaf? No. Do you have to have purification from the minor and the major uh, uh, impurity, metaphysical impurity? No, you don't need to have. This is the mashhur fuqaha, whatever our great scholars, they have mentioned. أما صلاته فلا تصح إلا عن طهارة. The problem here is technical. Think about it. How can, if she is in the hadath al-asghar, we understood. No wudu, do your tawaf. But if she was in the state, or he was in the state of janaba, or she was in the state of monthly period or postnatal blood bleeding, she is in the state of impurity. That guy is also in the state of impurity. How can they do mustahab tawaf and enter inside the haram, the tawaf area, and they are in that state? So think about it. There are scenarios, okay? Think about those scenarios, and inshallah, we will give you a few scenarios. but he is in the state of impurity, and or she is in the state, both of them are in the state of impurity. How can they do recommended tawaf? They have to enter Masjid al-Haram to do the recommended tawaf. How can they do the recommended tawaf, enter the Masjid al-Haram, and they are in such state? So he said that 295, الطواف المندوب, the recommended tawaf, لا تعتبر فيه الطهارة عن الحدث الأصغر. The purification from the metaphysical minor impurity does not require, is not required, like wudu is not required. وكذا عن الحدث الأكبر, and also for the major or greater metaphysical impurity, according to the mashhur popular opinion of the great scholars. Okay, this is like an agreement. وأما صلاته فلا تصح إلا عن طهارة. So if you want to pray Salat al-Tawaf, you cannot pray without purification. So because Salat, it's Salat. So, yes, we said that the Imam Ali Satum says, as-salatu at-tawafu kas-salat. Tawaf is like Salat. That means the rulings of the Tawaf are Salat are applied on the rulings of Salat. The rulings of Salat are applied on Tawaf as well. Not all, majority of it. So here, for Salat, you will have to get purity. But for recommended Salat of recommended Tawaf. But here, so tawaf, you don't have to have purity, either from minor metaphysical impurity, wudu. You don't have to need to perform wudu to relieve yourself from minor metaphysical impurity, or ghusl from major metaphysical impurity. However, for salah, you need to have the purity. آخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى